All right, everybody. My daughter's sick again today, but we still have to take this test tomorrow on Thursday. So here's your review. Feel free to have whoever's in here pause this, rewind this, whatever. Write down your questions if you have any. Can you stop ringing that bell, please? Anyway, feel free to write down your questions if you have any. I'll address them tomorrow before you take this test. I can tell you that the test is 14 questions long, so this review is a little bit longer than that. But you are going to need to take good notes on this. And here we go. So let's just roll through each one of these. Write the equation of the line that has slope of negative 1/2 and passes through the point 7, 11. So obviously, we could do a point slope equation for this line. Like if we had like y, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Then you could definitely do y minus 11 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 7. And if you had to convert that to slope-intercept, you could distribute the 1/2. So you'd have y minus 11 equals negative 1/2 x plus 7/2, and then you could add 11 to it, and then you would have y equals negative 1/2 x plus, and I don't have time to go through the details, but that's how you would generate an answer in slope-intercept form. Now, had this said has a slope of 0, and passes through that point, then the line would be horizontal, and you just do y equals 11, because that would be the horizontal line. And obviously, if it were parallel to the x-axis, it would be horizontal, and therefore you just do y equals 11. If it were perpendicular to the x-axis, then you'd have a vertical line, because if this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis, then going parallel to it would be horizontal, and going perpendicular to it would be vertical, like so. So anyway, that's how you would work that out. All right, continuing. If it passes through these 2 points here, you would have to calculate the slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here you would do, if you label your points, 7 minus 12 over 2 minus 4 would give you negative 5 over negative 2, which would be 5/2. And then, of course, you could do your point slope equation for that. So you could do y minus y1, so you'd have y minus 12 equals 5/2 times x minus 4, or you could use the other point. That's fine. All right, here's one. Passes through this point, negative 2, negative 5. Is perpendicular to the x-axis. If it's perpendicular to the x-axis, that means it's going to be a vertical line like this line right here. And so if it's vertical, it's going to be x equals some number. And if it's x equals some number, that x would be negative 2. If it were parallel to the x-axis, that would be a line that went this way. And parallel to the x-axis through that point would be y equals negative 5. Baby, I'm trying to do this test here, okay?
Hey, I play this.
Okay, fine. Go play with that. All right. Number 4. Oh, well, I guess I had one that was parallel. So, if we have something that passes through the point negative 6, 1 and parallel to the x-axis, and like I said, to write all this stuff down, you may need to pause this video, which is fine, as long as you finish it within class. Anyway, to do this, if it's parallel to the x-axis, it's going to be horizontal. So this would be y equals 1. And obviously, if it were parallel or perpendicular to the y-axis, you would have to change that up accordingly. And number 5 is set up perfectly for slope-intercept because you've got a y-intercept. So if you do y equals mx plus b, so if you see anything on the test that talks about slope and y-intercept, you just fill this baby in. So this is y equals 5x, and see how this is 0, -8, so I can put -8 there. And that would be as complicated as that would be. Yes, you can play with it right there. Okay. So anyway.
I'm gonna come around.
Oh, you're going to come around. Okay. All right, continuing. This may not fit on one video. If a line passes through 4, 5, and 0, y and has a slope of -1/4, what's the value of y? Basically, how you would set this up is you would set up your slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you could do y minus 5 over 0 minus 4, which would give you y minus 5 over -4, and that would be equal to -1/4. So anyway, what you could do here is you could cross multiply, or you could notice, see how this is, they're both negatives, so you could technically cancel the negatives, and then y minus 5 would have to be equal to 1. But if you didn't see that, what you could do is you could cross multiply, so you do 4 times y minus 5 equals -4 times -1. So this would make 4y minus 20 equals 4. Add 20. 4y equals 24. Divide by 4, y equals 6. Take good notes on that one. There's one like that on the test. All right. Now, name and sketch the parent or basic functions. Let me clear this ink because I can scroll, but the ink stays put. You need to know the shape of your basic functions. You should have this down in your notes so that the questions over this are really simple on the test. Y equals x squared is a parabola. That's your squaring function. Y equals x. That's your linear parent function. That's your identity function. Y equals the absolute value of x. Looks like that.
Hey, can I have these?
Yes, you can go play with that. That's fine. Y equals the square root of x. Looks something like that, like a parabola on its side. And y equals x cubed. Looks like this. Like I said, have those in your notes. Know what they look like. Know which ones they are. Let's see, are there any more of them? Oh yeah, y equals c. And naturally, I have this scrolled now. All right, so y equals c, that's literally just a horizontal line. Whee! Okay, so know what your basic functions look like. Oh, crap. Clear ink. All right. Next. Find f of 4x if f of x equals x squared minus 7x plus 10. All right. So, if we plug 4x in for x, because this is like f of blank equals, crap, blank squared minus 7 blank plus 10. So that one, you'd have f of 4x equals 4x squared minus 7 times 4x plus 10. So on this, you square the 4, you square the x, that's 16x squared minus 28x plus 10. And that's your answer right there. You can't do anything else with that. You just plug that in for x. It replaces x. It fills in the blank. And that's what you get. Find the domain and range. Wow, there aren't any arrows here.
Okay. And
So we're just going to draw some.
I'm just pretending that it's off.
All right. So if this is the mapping, then the domain would be this set right here. And the range would be this set right here. So you would just write it out. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, because I was thinking about it, you need to know different kinds of lines and different slopes of lines. Like for instance, if you're asked to draw a line with a slope of 0, a slope of 0 is horizontal, so this would be this, so m equals 0. That line has a positive slope. That line has a negative slope. And then this line has no slope, or slope is undefined. That'd be a good thing to have in your notes for the test, I think. All right, continuing.
6, 7, 8, 8.
All right, if you have domain, there are two things that cause problems with domain.
7, 8, 9.
So there are two things that cause problems with domain. Division by 0 and square roots of negative numbers. So when you look at this first one, you got a square root. Remember, to avoid taking the square root of a negative, you have to set this greater than or equal to 0 and solve. Subtract 8, 4x is greater than or equal to negative 8. 5 by 4, so x is greater than or equal to negative 2. It may have that on there, or it may want an interval. Either way, this is your domain right here, just like we did yesterday. For number 16, you got to avoid division by 0. So division by 0 occurs when either x minus 8 is 0 or x plus 12 is 0. So if so you say x minus 8 cannot be 0, x plus 12 cannot be 0. If I add 8 to both sides, I get x cannot be 8. If I subtract 12, I get x cannot be 12. Crap, negative 12. If I have to make that into an interval, this would be negative infinity to negative 12, union negative 12 to 8. Ignore that mark, I don't have the eraser. Union 8 to infinity, like so. Now, if you notice number 17, there's no division and there's no even root. So the domain on that guy is all real numbers, negative infinity to infinity. Moving right along. This is the transformation stuff. This is your HSRD. Notice that this is a +4 on the inside part. Okay? If it's on the inside part like that, it's a horizontal shift. And it's a horizontal shift plus goes left. So this would be 4 to the left. If you need to, you could always graph y equals x plus 4 squared on the graphing calculator and compare it to the graph of the original, and you should be able to generate an answer. Now, for 19, I'm going to go through this quickly. I got like 30 seconds. So, notice the +7 is 7 to the upward. That's your vertical shift. +2 would be 2 to the left. This 4 here is a vertical stretch. And this minus on the outside is an x-axis reflection. If it's on the inside, like it is there, it would be a y-axis reflection. And I'm out of time, I'm going to have to make another video.